It's 1 minute and counting.
Hello.
Four, three, two, one.
Hello everybody. How you all doing? And welcome to yet another Fly Out live stream. So what have we got for you tonight? Well, we've got the usual Simon Keeling, this time in recorded form, telling us how good, bad and average the weather's going to be this weekend. We've got a whole load of news stories, the usual bonkers electric hybrid aircrafty type things going on. We've got some serious news about travelling to Europe after Brexit, but no politics in that. We're not even going to mention electronic conspicuity because there must be 60 pages of discussion on it, which has basically become a religious war on the Flyer forum. What else have we got? We've got some stuff on Farnborough, which is featured recently in the Airspace Safety Initiative website, and PPL exams and a few other bits and pieces going on. Then we've got Fantasy Hangar, which this week I'm going to win, so don't forget, I'm going to win. And a few other bits and pieces and some stuff we saw on the internet that we thought was interesting and just some general chit-chat, really. So are you all ready? Good. So in that case, let's go straight into Simon Keeling's weather. Here you go.
Deploy the shirt.
Deploy the shirt.
Hi everyone, well hopefully this evening finds you well and you're looking forward to getting some flying in this weekend. It's not actually looking too bad as we head into the weekend. This is the forecast chart for Saturday. High pressure off the northwest of Scotland. It brings in a north to northeasterly flow across the country. Some showers down these eastern coasts and also across southern coasts of England. Nothing too severe, and I think a fair amount of cloud around as well. So we're going to be looking at best sunshine in the west, most cloud in the east. I think for eastern areas, typical base is probably coming in at around 2,000 to 3,000 feet, and the top's probably up at around 10 to 15,000 feet. Western areas, though, I think generally here 4,000 foot bases, 8,000 foot tops. But like I say, get ready for a fair amount of cloud. As we head in towards Sunday, again, high pressure is this time over the top of us. Now, again, I think this is going to be a fairly cloudy, murky high. So on Sunday morning, I expect quite a bit of mist and low cloud around across many parts of the country. Now, that will gradually lift. And as is the way with high pressure in this sort of situation, some areas will stay with low cloud through the day. In other areas, it will clear. So I'm going to say typically we're going to see bases of around 2,000 feet during the afternoon, tops at around 6,000 feet, and I think there will be a fair amount of cloud around throughout the course of the afternoon on Sunday. As I say, visibility reduced. I'm going to go with around a 10 to 12k during the afternoon on Sunday for many areas, but some places could be stuck at about 5 kilometres. And I think what we'll find is some showers again drifting onto southern coast of England and into southern coast of Ireland, one or two possibly across northeast England and East Anglia. So the best of the flying days for the weekend at the moment do look as if they're probably going to be Saturday, and potentially I think Sunday afternoon is looking okay too. Now, mist and fog is something that we deal with at weather school, and you'll be delighted to note that you can take this opportunity to get to Aviation Weather School Part 1 on the Saturday mornings of the 7th and the 14th of November. It's presented live by me, and by doing it on these consecutive Saturday mornings, it means you can get flying during the afternoon. I'll build your confidence in forecasting and also show you how you can predict yourself for 5 days in advance so you can spot all those all-important weather windows. Go to weatherschool.co.uk for more information. Okay, thanks for joining me again. Have a great evening, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now.
Is it?
Well, there you go.
Yeah. Is it me, or did Simon's shirt look like one of those colour blindness, one of those Ishihara tests? I was looking for the number all the time.
Did you see a number?
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure I want to declare that or not.
Are you colourblind?
I am. Yes.
Excellent. I never thought about that, but next time I shall peek into his shirt and see what I can see.
That's it. I think there's a message. It's sign up for weather school.
Anyway, Dave, how you doing?
Okay, thanks. Yes. Well, I'm a bit gravelly tonight.
Yeah.
So I've got this sore throat thing going on. It isn't COVID. Just sounds like it. Anyway.
Okay, take us through the news, and if you lose your voice halfway, then we'll step in and laugh.
Okay. Right.
Go.
So first item is about the Samad Q Starling. Strange name, strange aeroplane. This is it. Apparently it takes off vertically by using a big fan underneath the aircraft, and then then it goes into forward propulsion. That bit isn't very clear at the moment, but this is what the aircraft looks like. It's hybrid electric. It's been proposed by a guy at Cranfield Airfield, Cranfield Technologies. He seems quite serious. He's an engineer, but the aircraft is quite fantastic. So, anything to say on that at all?
Well, I think not only is it hybrid electric, it's got some weird reaction jet control system in it as well. So, and far be it from me to say it's an aeroplane hunting after some grant money. And it looks fantastic. It's like the Jetsons called, and that's what they got in response.
If you read the press release, it's a hybrid turbo electric reaction jet force big fan thing, personal transport for high end. But it will be easy to fly for private pilots, and the average private pilot will only take a 10-hour conversion to be able to fly their hybrid version pro turbo thing with reaction things,
and certified in 2022.
Yeah, absolutely. He did. I think that company announced some other stuff, didn't they? A kind of bigger bizjet project, or a very similarly named company. Okay, well maybe I'll stop there just in case I'm.
Anyway, it reminded me. Does anyone remember the Chichester Miles Leopard, that little tiny 4-seat jet from the 80s?
Right.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. It invoked that small amount of awesomeness. So who knows?
I'm pretty sure I saw that fly once, and I'm pretty sure it took a gazillion meters of runway to get airborne.
Well, it did have 2 hair dryers on the back. So
it did. Yeah. Where is it now?
It's in a museum, I'm happy to say.
Sounds like the best place for it. Yeah.
Yeah. But it was real fantasy stuff at the time. Anyway, what's next?
What's next, Dave?
Is a hybrid electric aeroplane that's actually flying. This is the French company Volt Aero. This is what they call the Casio. This is their demonstrator aircraft. It's based on a Cessna 337, and the new news is that they developed their power module for the rear, the hybrid electric power module. This is 3 electric motors arranged in a sort of triangular fashion, and the idea is if one of them packs up, the other 2 can carry on. So it's got redundancy. It's at the front is a normal power unit. So they're sort of taking it very sensibly in stages, but I can't help thinking this is a very expensive solution for a problem that doesn't really exist. So anyway.
I don't know. It's innovation. All has to start somewhere, doesn't it? So
yeah.
But it's like what shape? So
yeah.
Is the 337, is that just a test fuselage? They're not actually going
to. I don't think it forms the basis of they've actually. Dave, am I right in thinking that there's actually a design that is not 337 based in their future?
It's not 337 based, but there is definitely influence from a 337.
Yeah.
So it's a push-pull aircraft, but with distributed power along the leading edge of the wing and the pusher motor at the rear. So, and they're still talking about an internal combustion engine on board as a generator unit and a range extender.
Hybrid power.
Hybrid power, yeah. And of course, the 2 guys behind Volt Aero are both ex-Airbus, and it's all taking place in that Toulouse Aerospace Valley. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is a little Airbus-interested project.
Yeah.
Which they're doing separately for some reason. In case it doesn't work.
Because it's ugly, they're doing separately. That's why.
Yeah. Yes, French.
It's interesting to note that the 337s. This is suddenly all of a sudden more popular because there's an American outfit as well, isn't there? With a Ampere, and so all of a sudden the 337 has some love. So
if you've got a 337, now is the time to sell it.
Yes.
Well, actually, we know there's one for sale, don't we?
There's one at my strip for sale.
Good.
Right. Next. Moving next. Yes,
Airbus.
something about flying to Europe after Brexit, Ian.
Yes, that's me. So no politics here, but no, not even a but. There's no politics here. 11 p.m. on 31st of December, United Kingdom, blah blah blah. This is a letter from Border Force, basically. Effectively, after 11 p.m. on 31st of December, if you want to fly to Europe, you need to fly to Europe from an airfield that has a customs agreement in place. However, don't calm down for now. What's happening is that Border Force are issuing a blanket customs and excise kind of approval type thing, a kind of agreement, if you like, covering everyone, every strip here that goes until June, the 30th of June, 2022. So basically, every strip becomes an agreement, customs and excise certificate of agreement airfield under this blanket thing. And if you happen to own a strip, you don't need to do anything about it. It's just automatic. You've got it, and you've got it until then. You will get a visit from Customs and Border Force over the next, it says couple of months here, but I suspect it might take a little bit longer. They probably don't realize how many strips there are, at which they'll explain to you what you need to do to get your own individual one. And if you want to allow international traffic in or out after June the 30th, 2022, you'll need your own agreement by then. There's a whole bunch of other stuff that you can't do in the interim, just with the blanket thing. So handling general aviation flights only, no commercial flights. You've got to be able to handle the number of passengers, no importation or exportation. But basically, the kind of the restrictions don't really affect us general aviation pilots. So the bad news is, I suppose, that you'll need a customs agreement, and the good news is you'll have a customs agreement automatically, at least until June 2022. It didn't.
In the comments, Paul Sengupta says, "Is there a time requirement for the GAR? What's the time requirement for the GAR going to be?"
There's no mention of that in the thing, Paul. I would assume that there'll be 0 time requirement for outbound and the usual 4-hour requirement inbound. I realise that assume makes an ass of you and me, but I think that's what I'm going to work on anyway. So there you go. You heard it here first or second. So that's interesting news. I think.
Yeah.
Oh, is there a comment?
No.
That's
it.
Okay,
good.
So move on.
Moving on.
Got a lot to talk about tonight. So Cessna singles, thousands of them affected by this latest airworthiness directive by the FAA. It apparently is cracking at the bottom of the doorpost, which can affect the area where the wing strut bolts onto the fuselage. Sounds like quite a sensible idea if it's for real, because you don't want the wing strut coming off in mid-flight, do you?
Nope.
Ideally.
No. And I think the inspection is something like, it works out something like $400, but then there's 2 fixes, and those are how much?
So basically, there's the inspection. It works out something like $220, so an hour and a half or something like that to have a look. Yeah. I assume you have a look from the inside through one of those inspection plates, and from the outside as well.
Yeah.
If you find cracks, you have to fix it, and you have to fix it using one of 2 Cessna repair kits.
Right.
And they're estimating that that's going to cost you either $6,500 or $10,000. So translated into English money, that's either £6,500 or £10,000, I would guess, if you get it done. So that's going to be interesting. The thinking was that because a lot of Cessnas, when they kind of rock when they're outside a little bit in the wind, kind of move, that a lot of them that spent a long time outside, there's kind of some thinking that constant movement all the time is causing fatigue in that joint area.
A huge fatigue cycle, I guess.
huge fatigue cycle. Yeah. So if your aeroplane has had 4,000 hours time in service, you basically will need to. It comes the AD. I know about this because I've got a Cessna. The AD comes due on November the 12th is when it's going to be published. So basically, you've got 200 hours after November the 12th to get the inspection done, which for most of us means not in a rush.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there you go.
Cool.
So,
Moving on.
a couple of aviation OBEs have been announced.
Yep.
Sky Demons Tim Dawson and Pilot Aware's Keith Binning.
Wow.
Right.
Got to take that back down because that's slightly.
It's quite in your face.
In your face,
Right in your face, isn't it? Yeah.
Well done to both of them.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
Hands up,
Just-
if you remember planning flights in the old days when you used to have to like look at telexes and weirdo stuff like that and pretend you were reading the NOTAMs when they were on 50 pages of toilet paper.
And there was this whole drawing a line on a chart and rulers and China graphs and that weird thing that slid up and down with the
I quite enjoy doing all that.
Yeah, but you're really old, Dave. You're like 312.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I can enjoy that all.
Right. So just for that, you can do the next item about Farnborough's airspace.
This is the Farnborough's new entrapment zone. Farnborough's new infringement entrapment zone is a success.
I've got a picture of it.
Yes. No.
Sorry, not that one. It's that one.
Dog's dinner. Yeah. Yes. Amazingly, they managed to design a piece of airspace that causes lots of infringement. So well done, chaps.
Yeah.
Seriously though.
Seriously, the CAA has issued the third instalment of its narratives covering the Farnborough airspace to help pilots avoid the hotspots for infringement. So they've had two already. This is the third one. It's just out on the Airspace Safety Initiative website. Is that right? And that's right. and anyway, so it tells you how to avoid them, but really you are not going to avoid them. The traps are all there, just waiting to be sprung.
Yeah.
It's basically
it's that
dinner of a bit of airspace, isn't it? Really. And
yeah. And the fact that they're telling you to avoid the they're going, here's the hotspots. It's like you created them. So
it's the hotspots. It's the south of England.
Yeah. What is a hotspot? Not a good spot.
Right.
It's a game show reference.
Yeah. What reference?
right.
Well done.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. That's Farnborough.
PPL exams.
Slightly better news. Yeah, PPL exams are about to go online, or have gone online actually. So paper exams are out, online's in. That's presumably is a good thing. I don't have much to say about that. Okay, moving on.
Before we move on from the exams, I'd be interested to know if anyone, it is a good thing, and it's only 2020, so it's a little bit ahead of its time, surely. Has anyone out there had any experience of the implementation? Has it gone smoothly? Does it work? Tell us. How are you getting on?
Well, apparently there were some pilot cases before they went live with it around overall. So they have been running some pilot exams and some test exams, and that's apparently gone quite smoothly. So
Stuart Truman in the comments says he's done 2 of each. How did they go, Stuart? So, and going back to the airspace, Riccardo Denardis, who we know is in Italy, he said Farnborough looks worse than Italian airspace. That says it all.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder what Italian is for dog's dinner.
I'm not even going to guess. It would be terrible. I'd probably offend the whole of Italy. Bad enough when we offended a section of Kent.
Yeah, well, that's okay, isn't it? That's fair enough.
That's it. Last item in news.
Last item in news is that the pilot involved in the crash that killed footballer Salah, David Henderson, has pleaded not guilty to CAA charges of acting in a reckless and negligent manner, and in being involved in the commercial use of the airplane used in the crash. There's,
He
we're
wasn't
just
the pilot.
reporting that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry?
He wasn't the pilot, was he? But he was the guy who provided the aeroplane.
Sorry, that's right. Yeah.
He's linked in one way or another.
Yeah.
But I'm sure will become clear during the court case in Cardiff.
Yeah.
So So time for fantasy hangar then. That's enough news.
Yep.
So our hangar's getting a little bit full. Unfortunately, the strip owner has built a lake. With that lake, we decided it was time for a seaplane.
So yeah, I'll point out here that I suggested seaplane, and I'm suspicious of Ian's motives, but he's like, oh, we should definitely add float plane into the mix. Anyway, over to Dave.
Seaplane, float plane. I mean, come on, Dave. Talk us through your choice.
My choice is inspired simply by Mike Smith, the guy who flew around the world in a little 2-seat Sea Ray. So it's a Sea Ray. I just think this is a lovely little aircraft. Looks loads of fun. I've never flown in one, but it looks loads of fun. And it's flown it around the world, crying out loud. It's an incredible feat for a small airplane. And if you've never read his book, Voyage of the Southern Sun, you really should do. It's a great book. And so just because of him being able to fly this little aircraft around the world, having a great deal of fun, and so that's my choice. And also, I found out that Richard Bach, the guy who wrote Jonathan Seagull, also has a.
He's got it. Yeah,
he's Sea Ray.
Yeah, he's got a Sea Ray, and he wrote a book called Travel. He nicknamed the airplane Puff, and I think it's nicknamed. The book is called Travels with Puff, which is worth a read. And Richard's now retired on an island on the San Juan Islands and lives in Friday Harbour, in the States. But yes, as Adrian Norris points out, Richard Bach did crash his, so he survived though. He flew it into the power lines.
Yeah. So I have actually. This is Joe Fournier in the right hand seat there in Florida, and I have actually had a go in one of those Sea Rays, and I believe it's been improved since. But how long ago was that? Maybe 4, 5, 6 years ago?
6 years ago, that was.
It had the kind of ailerons that you kind of move it and nothing really happens. You kind of like, it was a bit of a wallowy thing. And it was also one of the more, sometimes you go flying with someone, and this was with the demonstration pilot, and the end of the flight, sometimes you get to the end of the flight and you go, I'm quite glad that flight's over. And that was one of those flights.
But yes, better, more lively ailerons on those now. It's quite a good choice, Dave. I'll give you that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, I feel some confidence coming up from Ian.
Not as good as my choice. This is my choice, and because I put the pictures together, I gave myself 3 different pictures here that we can.
That's just cheating.
It is, but this one deserves to win. So what's happened there? There you go. That's the cockpit of the de Havilland Beaver. What an absolutely fantastically beautiful, lovely, glorious bloody aeroplane. We flew this one out of Jacksonville Exec in Florida. It's just a beautiful, beautiful airplane. This one's on amphib floats. It's gentle. It purrs along. It's just lovely. It's just a classic. That's kind of like, it's an amazing aircraft. And of course, playing about with it on the water, which is kind of you have to do. We did quite a few landings and quite a few taxiing on the step and stuff like that. And it's just an absolutely glorious aircraft. And this one, as you can see, is in absolutely brilliant condition, absolutely pristine condition.
It is lovely. It's an aeroplane in the David Marco collection, and all the Marco airplanes are fantastic.
Absolutely. And this, I have to say, if I had any water near me that I could actually use, and I don't think Kennet and Avon Canal is really up to it, an amphibious Beaver would be my aircraft of choice, and this week's winner, clearly. Thank you very much.
And so Tim Cook has said he remembers seeing a DC-3 on floats, and that there was a DC-3 on amphib floats, and it came off, and I know that aeroplane is being restored to fly again on floats. And that would be, I have to say, Tim, that would have been, if I'd remembered that, I would have picked that. However, And before Ian's choice is relegated to also ran by my winner, I'd like to say, Ian, I think you have cheated by invoking the Beaver card, because like you deploying Beaver at any time is almost a guaranteed win, isn't it? It's
absolutely. Apparently, back to that DC3 on floats. Wasn't that sponsored by Budweiser or someone?
Was it Folsom or something?
Okay.
It was a. I can't remember. Remember. But it's a big mountain of an aeroplane. However, I think, in the spirit of a proper seaplane, and if you're going to do a seaplane, you might as well go big and bold.
You want the picture?
Make full use. I went for this, which is the Martin Mars, because I figure if you're going to have a seaplane, have one that you can, take lots of friends. The Mars is enormous. It's got 4 2,500 horsepower Wright 3350 engines, and you've got space. You can basically turn this into a big floating flying aerial camper. And granted, there's probably no hangar it's going to go in, so it's just going to have to sit outside on the lake. And I think even if you didn't fly it, you could probably have a lot of fun just sitting out in your giant floating castle. So.
Surely that giant fuselage is just to hold all the fuel it needs.
Yeah, I think there probably is quite a significant fuel burn and significant oil burn. I actually had the fortune that aeroplane went to Oshkosh a few years ago, and I got to go out and take a tour on it. And they invite you to go out through a hatch. You go up various ladders. It's the only aeroplane I've ever climbed ladders in, and you end up on top of the wing. You go out through this hatch. And you start walking around, and you realise you're on a huge black section, painted black section behind the engines. And at that point, someone will shout at you and go, "Oh yeah, just watch out! That section's a bit oily." So you're on a seaplane, very high up off the water, and all of a sudden you become aware that your footing may not be as secure, and it's like very tentative walking to get back and not be the guy who fell off the Martin Mars at Oshkosh. So I'm happy to say I got back in the aeroplane. But that's a monster machine. So, yeah.
And a worthy second place, I have to say.
So Stephen Evans said, surely you're talking about the yellow one, right? Which would probably be a good second choice. The Cub on floats, which is the tiny dot inside, full of floating in front of it. Stuart Truman suggests the consolidated Catalina. That is quite a good choice, I'd say. And a few of those have been converted into kind of big flying floating yachts. So, I reckon. Oh yeah, Keir Williams says Republic CB.
No, that's not pretty.
But I think being able to having a seaplane that you can live on, that's got to be a win. So let's see it in the comments. If you vote Beaver, if you think Ian's choice is best, vote Sea Ray or vote Mars. Personally, I suggest you vote Mars. Mark Turner suggests a Piaggio P136, which I believe is the Royal Gull. That's a very good choice. That's a very elegant machine.
Do they have?
That's like a beautiful Italian-styled CB.
Have they got one of those at Lake Como, at the Aero Club at Lake Como?
I don't know, but it's a gull. It's a V. It's an inverted gull wing. Oh no, it's a non-inverted gull wing, twin pusher engines, beautiful, very very elegant. So
the Italians are pretty good at their airplanes, but Beaver's the winner.
Yeah, Adrian. Well, I'm not sure about that yet. Mark Litherland says Beaver for him. Yeah. Ron Perry says Mars. Chris Cooper says stop it, Ed.
Great.
Kia says Martin Mars. Jamie Gavin says Beaver every time. Richard Andrews curveball throws in Sunderland. So I think Beaver may be edging it out in the comments. John White says Supermarine S5. John may have a dog in that hunt, as I know he's working on the Supermarine. He's stress man on the Supermarine S5 rebuild project to build a replica.
So the bad news is we've got 1 minute left, and we've got a couple of things. So we can either quickly run through the. I know, how did that happen? We've got a couple of videos for you to watch, so we can either run through those, and then a couple of events that we need to mention.
We could do just events, couldn't we?
suggest events and save the videos for next week?
Yeah, next
Let's
time.
do that.
Let's do that. So moving to the events then, who wants to talk about Air Ability's thing on Sunday?
They're hosting Brian Shaw, the very famous SR-71 pilot, and that's going to be, our notes say, on Facebook. I presume a Facebook live stream, is it? So
Yeah, I believe so.
go to Air Ability and register your interest.
I am just looking at that at the moment. Yep, Sunday from 1930 UTC, it says.
Okay, that will definitely be worth watching. If you've not, and there's a few videos of Brian on the web, but he is famous for having the speed check discussion where he ends up, the SR-71 pilots end up trumping everyone by calling one of the centres for a speed check, and the guy who was in his F-18 who thought he was going to be the winner gets trumped wildly by the SR-71.
Don't give away the story.
No. There we go. Spoiler alert.
I did quickly put up the URL, but it was ridiculous, so I took it down again. You'll just have to go and look at Air Ability, go on Facebook. I'm sure you'll find it there quite easily. And then, of course, there's the Air Ability Aviators Ball, which is virtual this year.
Saturday, November the 28th.
Yeah.
Saturday 28th, that's right.
That's it. And on November the 16th, the Royal Aeronautical Society are having their Light Aircraft Design Conference. It's an online conference this year, due COVID, obviously, and it's about electrifying general aviation. So that they ran one of these last year. It was very well responded to. So this one on the 16th of November, it's 1 o'clock till 6 o'clock. On the 16th, and if you're a Flyer Club member, there's going to be a deal with them where you can save £15 on your registration price. So check that out.
Yeah, and Adrian Norris, I've just looked thinking, Adrian Norris is disappointed. Look, no 1980s quiz show this week. Gutted.
Adrian, you are the only gutted person.
He's not. I'm gutted. I didn't have time to get one going.
Ian's finger is just poised over that theme tune button.
Mike Miller-Smith has just pointed out that the Brian Shaw thing will be on YouTube as well.
Excellent.
So please go and support that, everyone. That's going to be amazing. What else have we got? I don't quite understand John Whiten's comment about again. But there you go.
Must be something further up.
It's probably about the Beaver is the brilliant aeroplane again, or something like that.
Yeah. I think history may show that invoking the Beaver card has seen you a winner.
Battle time could be my last victory of the year, really, couldn't it?
Maybe.
But the fantasy hangar's getting a bit full, isn't it, at the moment?
It's a bit full. I'm floating outside.
Yeah, we might need something else soon. Anyway, briefly, just before we go, if you're not a member of the Flyer Club, go on over and join. Would be much appreciated. Thank you very, very much for joining us. Have a fantastic weekend's flying. Have a fantastic evening. Have a good day tomorrow, and we'll see you next week. Thank you very much.
Fly safe, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.